Anybody there? Is there anybody there except us chickens? We got anybody's? We got anybody's? I can't see nobody's. Well, if when you're there, welcome. If you're not, no welcome to you at all. This is Uncle Dan, Lonesome Dan, the Vinyl Man. And I'm lonesome because ain't nobody with me right now. Yeah, it's just Uncle Dan here. Anybody? Anybody there? I don't see nobody. Just me. Well, Uncle Dan got a new toy. Yeah. Uncle Dan done got himself a Tysco H905 lap steel from Japan. Yeah, Tysco. If you want a good guitar, you get yourself a Tysco. That's what you got to get, man. Yeah, I'm supposed to be here talking about vinyl, but I ain't got nobody to talk to, so I don't know what to talk about. I could say mean things about people. Should I do that? Ain't nobody to argue with me about it, right? Yeah, here's Uncle Dan's take. You go out and buy you the records you want to buy. You listen to records you want to listen to, and you listen to them on anything you want to listen to them on. And it won't make Uncle Dan a bit of difference. I don't care, one way or another, what you... There, Susan's there at least. Hey, Susan. I ain't got nobody else there except Susan. We got two people. We got Susan and me. And that about it. Hey, Susan. You know, I put an invite in there. You can join the stream. I wish Bobby were here because I got an album that Bobby might like. So since we're all supposed to hear talk about vinyl and not about Uncle Dan's very beautiful lap steel, I will talk about my vinyl records. Oh, Wyoming Dave and Dave, the pickup artist. Michael is not with us this week. And I thought Bobby was going to be here, but I was maybe late getting back to Bobby. So maybe he won't make it. But Michael is house hunting. So you've got me instead. And I know it's a severe disappointment. You'll probably all go away now. And Dave, I'm sorry that you've fallen and can't get up. We'd heard that before, but we heard that there were here. Here get here here Dave. You can't get yourself some of them blue pills, okay? That's what I say. And I'm sorry about that, and I'm sorry for your for your wife and your girlfriend both. So anyway, there, yeah. But I've got a few albums to talk about, and nothing new, because my channel is it's now Lonesome Dan's Vintage Vinyl instead of Uncle Dan's Vintage Vinyl, and I don't know why I changed it, except I decided to be. I decided to be lonesome last week when it was just me on the. I'm never lonesome. Pancake and a Clara here, my dogs. But I picked up some used albums. And again, I do vintage vinyl, although I do buy new albums. This is a great one. This is Johnny Jones with Billy Boyd Arnold, Alligator Records, date 79. Johnny Jones played with one of my greatest heroes, Elmore James, great blues pianist. And so this just a great album. This was recorded live. Bobby. Thank God you're here.
Hey, I said I was going to be here. I tried contacting you like a little bit before,
Yeah, I was trying to get some stuff done around the house.
No, so I understand.
Folks.
We're not retired like another person who's not here today.
Yeah. We can talk smack about him.
We have to.
We have to talk smack about him. But yeah, I'd already started getting into albums.
All right, go ahead.
You're gonna love this.
Oh yes, excellent.
And it's mirrored Tysco.
Yeah,
it's a Tysco, which is of course the finest. No finer guitars ever made than Tysco's. Yeah,
they're the best.
Yeah.
Grecos, those ones are freaking phenomenal. People have freaking been going nuts on those things. Like I used to pick up Grecos for like $60-$70, and now they're like $700 guitars. It's like ridiculous.
I'll have to. I want to. My brother just killed me today. He went to a. Let me download this.
Tremendous sex drive. My girlfriend lives 40 miles away. Long distance relationships. Wow, those are tough. I've been in those before.
Yeah, I think that's just a joke, and he's done that one before. It's like I'm sorry, Dave, but Dave, your girlfriend drives all sorts of men. Why can't
I gotta learn how to do that, man. Freaking find a sign up so I can start talking shit in the comment section.
I don't know how you do it, I'm talking smack to him. Let me see. Let me see if I can show you this, and I can. I just need to figure out how to do it. Well, there we go. Look at what my brother got today. You see it?
Oh, Jesus. Yes, I can. That's beautiful.
Silver tone, three single coils. Probably made in '67. Not Japanese, probably a U.S. made and he got it at an auction for a very good price. But yeah, just kill me. He's, I mean and he says it's in great shape. So he's a few nicks in it, but otherwise in great shape. So there you go.
See, that's the problem. All these deals and these things will always show up at the time when you're not supposed to be spending money, and it's just like sometimes there's too good to pass up. You know what I mean? It's just like, and that's how you end up with too many damn like guitars. I mean, it's just ridiculous. How often do you change your strings?
Well, not, it really depends. Not very often as a rule. These
right.
are not change though. These I'm going to change though because I got them from this guy, and I wanted to tune to open D, but it just doesn't hold it. So it's and I don't get it on lap steel. People put fairly lightweight strings on lap steel, and it's not like you're gonna it's not like you're gonna warp the neck on it. And
no,
more ounceage there. The bigger the strings, the better the swing.
All right, but like I said, like then you end up like with me and you have too many damn guitars. A string changing day could take you all freaking day. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I never can find my string winder.
I have like 5 of them for that exact reason, because I'm always losing them, and you can always pick them up someplace for like a couple bucks or whatever. But I also at first, when I was like a teenager and stuff, I would just buy separate packs of strings and stuff and keep them on stock. But now
I've got some around. Yeah,
I do too. But I found out that buying the high E and a G benefits me more, because those are the ones I always freaking snap.
Yeah. Well, I tend to use, although I'd gotten down to using 10s,
that's what I use on everything. I have everything. I use 10s.
Hey, Mari, it's good to see you. Well, we didn't set up topics. I've got some albums, but I don't know if you've got anything new. I know
just basically what I made a video yesterday. I picked up that new Ahmad Jamal record. A few stuff that like nobody wants to hear about. Some Strauss or
Yeah. Man, you can find Strauss. I mean, that's man.
I like classical, so I grab stuff like that I see. I mean,
yeah, I like my Strauss though. I mean, you look at the used classical, and there's a ton of Strauss. There's always just a ton of Strauss.
I picked up a record that it just looked cool, and I just don't know. I don't know if you ever seen this one.
No.
Jimmy Ponders. It's All Things Beautiful. He's a guitar player, and let's see if you can see what he's got there. I don't know what that is. It looks like maybe, I don't know.
Not a 175, but I can't tell what that is. It's got the
little F
pick guard,
right? And it's got the pick guard. It looks like but I can't quite tell. The inlays are the inlays are not Gretsch. I don't know what the heck that is.
Stromberg Super 400 or something.
Yeah, but anyways, this album, oh man, it sounds like you're listening to the fucking Love Boat, or like that type of stuff, man. It's I don't know.
Yeah.
I looked at the back. It saw drums, bass, guitars, percussion, keyboards. Oh, okay, you got trumpets and sax, trombone. I'm like, all right, this might be good. And so far, I don't know. And Clear Mountain is one of the engineers. I love Clear Mountain. He's a great engineer. Everything he does sounds good, but this, so far, I ain't digging it.
That's too bad, man.
That's what it happens. But that
great cover.
Oh yeah, you saw it. It's got the naked woman on front laying down on it.
I ain't got no problem with that, man.
No, I never do. But besides that, there's a few stuff that You know, they're getting ready to release that looks kind of cool. Have you been following any of those Third Man Records audiophile stuff things?
No, not really. Well, how much is a membership of this gang? What do you need to do to get in? Do you want to? I mean, here, if anybody wants to, wants to join, I'm gonna drop it in the chat.
Yeah, come on up, man. Seriously, the membership.
Yeah.
A membership club. Are we even that?
Here is something, and I'm serious about this. This is something I've really come to realize about myself. Is I hate gatekeeping. I hate people gatekeeping.
Oh yes, yeah.
I don't like people saying, you can't join this club. You're not good enough to join this club.
Yeah,
that bugs the heck out of me.
I hate fraternities. I never joined a frat. Did you?
Yeah, I couldn't. No, man. I was like, it's like.
But then I went and joined the freaking biggest fraternity in the world, the fucking U.S. Army.
Well, man, no, yeah.
But fraternities, I hate them. I mean, I hate gatekeeping, and I hate that. So I agree with you on that.
Yeah. Susan said, I said, ask us anything, and Susan said, I should probably set parameters around that. But you can ask us anything. It doesn't mean I'm going to answer
it. No, man, they're not. But anyways, this the audiophile thing that I was talking about is, you're familiar with Jack White's Third Man Records, right?
Yeah.
He bought a new record thing because he got sick of people fucking up his albums and stuff and bad quality at United. So anyways, there's this new thing called Verb Request series where most of the stuff is cut from the tapes and remastered. Who knows if it's all analog? Who knows if it's not? It says if the tapes are available, they try to make it all analog. But if they're not, and they don't mention which is which. But the vinyl, after a quick clean, it's good. And a lot of the stuff, they're doing a lot of albums that a lot of people haven't been reissued in a long time. Like if you wanted to catch a pressing of them, they're like $300. So yeah, it's neat. There's some stuff to check out that's on there. Also, there's a lot of new records that are cut from tape out that I was looking at too. Cecil Taylor, have you ever heard of him?
Oh yeah. I don't have anything. I know I don't have anything on vinyl. I may have something listen to something on Apple. It seems like I have. I always remember anyway. So
shit. Yes. In the comment section, we're freaking talking about dating. How the hell are we talking about dating? When did this get
I don't know.
We talk about cheap turntables, audiophile shit, and cheap guitars.
And
records, cheap guitars. Records that are in the freaking sections that nobody wants because you have to bend down and sit on crates and go through them.
Guitars, Cadillacs, and hillbilly music. We talk about.
Yeah.
We talk about that. Yeah. But yeah. No, I. Oh, that's right. Do you think it's okay? Yeah, I don't think Marius, Dave, the pickup artist. Dave's questions are not serious, so I don't think you need to. Dave asks a question. It's just a joke. So yeah, and for Dave, for your question. It's whether or not you're going to go all the way on the first date. You should ask your hand what your hand thinks about that. You should get your hand's consent before doing that. So
yeah. So are you excited to any of the new Blue Note? Because Blue Note they released it a while ago, but the classic series and the upcoming Tone Poets.
Yeah, although I am not a. I don't, for the most part, look and say, "Hey, I got to go out and get that." I tend to be some stuff I do. and uh, and High Fancy Pants. Some stuff I'll go out and look for, but I like to just go to go to a record store and just see what hits me for the most part. Like I went in yesterday and I had in mind, I forget what I was going to get. I had in mind to go get something, and I walked in and I looked through some Dylan, and then I walked down to see if looked at this, that, and the other, and then I walked by and I saw some Ray Charles and yes, yes, most certainly Marius. I will do that.
Well, what's all the hate with Wax and stuff? People don't like him because him and Rice are always talking shit.
Yeah, I guess so. It's like I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, we're humans.
Problems with him.
We're humans. We're fucking flawed.
Yeah. I mean, there are people who have problems with me. The prog rock fans have problems with me.
You're pretty much dead on your prog rock things, though. The records that you don't like, I tried to listen to too, and they're not really the Basement Tapes.
Blind Boy Grunt and the Hawks.
$60?
Yeah. Well, this is it's two LPs, and this is one of the Great White Wonders. This was one from the before the Basement Tapes came out from Columbia.
Really?
Yeah. So this is So that's why it's under Blind Boy Grunt and the Hawks rather than Bob Dylan and the band.
So son of a, when did that get released?
Oh, this got released quite a while ago. The tapes were floating around. The Basement Tapes were floating around. The Basement Tapes were floating around, and they got released on some. I've got some Great White Wonder. I've got some Great White Wonder. I've got one of those, I think, on a really early release, a really early bootleg that's not really good quality. But I haven't had a chance to listen to this. But
no, so like so Dan, when you go to the record stores, right? Do you have a certain day that you like to go? Like for instance, do you go on Fridays because they have all the new releases, or?
Man,
No?
I live an hour and a half away from anything that qualifies as a record store. Mm-hmm. I get down when I have time. So Friday, I had to take my little girl down to her mom's house. So yesterday, I bobbed down and went to a great record store, Mill City Sound in Hopkins, which I'll give a shout out to if you're in anybody's in. If anybody is in the Twin Cities area, Mill City Sound in Hopkins, Minnesota is an excellent record store. So I went in, and actually I was going to look for, and I hadn't watched your video at the time. I was going to look for the new Lana Del Rey album, and I went in and I completely forgot about it.
Yeah, they just issued the colored vinyl one now, and that one's going to freaking probably go for, well, it depends. People have liked it. Have you listened to any on Spotify or anything?
I have listened. I listened to one song, and I can't remember what it was. And I thought the song was very good. For me, the production. I think Lana Del Rey has an excellent voice. She knows how to use it. It's not the biggest voice in the world. It's not the greatest range in the world. Right. But she knows how to use her voice. Right. She has a good. Her timbre is good. Her phrasing is good, and it just has a good sound to it. She knows how to use it. I wish they wouldn't bury it in the mix. you know, and I
Yeah.
wish they'd take some of the damn reverb off sometimes.
It's fucking drenched in fucking reverb.
Oh man, the stuff he's like, you know, and it may, you know, Nico Case uses a ton of reverb, and that Nico Case would be saying dial back the reverb on that. So
Right.
that was one thing, but I thought it would be worthwhile. I mean, Born to Die is a great, you know, I think it's a great album.
Born to Die and Norman Rockwell. That's her best work. I mean, it's
I got to get Norman Rockwell. I only have Born to Die. I've listened to other stuff on Apple Music, which is what I use.
Oh, if you don't have Norman Rockwell, get Norman Rockwell and you'll love it. Because the reason why I like Born to Die and Norman Rockwell is because you know how albums, great albums, one song flows into the other.
Yeah.
That's how Born to Die is. That's how Norman Rockwell is. I like, especially in the record format. I don't want to say, okay, this song sucks. I have to get up and fucking switch this song because I don't want to sit through it because it sucks. I like albums that everything is good through side 1 to side 2. I mean,
yeah, and man, it is so hard to find those. It is so hard to find those. When I find an album that I can just sit and listen to without saying, oh boy, I wish that one would be done, then I'm like, oh yes, I'm a happy Dan at that point.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff, you know, a lot of stuff is real weak that way. So
Howlin' Wolf's Real Folk Blues. That one is a freaking one you can put on and everything is good on it. You know, you familiar with that record?
I'm sorry, I'd gotten a text. What was that? Howlin' Wolf.
Real Folk Blues.
Well, I mean, look, most of the blues guys, most of the, you know, major blues guys, for me, I like everything on the album.
Right.
You know, it's just like, the blues guys, it's like, you know, I don't know why, and maybe it's just because blues hits me right. But blues, you know, I'll listen to that. You know, I put on a blues album and it's like, yeah, if somebody I like, man, it's just like every one of them is getting me, you know. So I'm like, yeah, that's good. It may be that I might have some that I go back and listen to more than others, but you know, like my favorite, you know, Elmore James, you know, there ain't no Elmore James I don't like. You know, there's no Elmore James that not an Elmore James song that I ever feel is weak. You know, I think Muddy maybe had some stuff a little later on, but man, for a long time there, Muddy was killing it. You know,
they're in the 70s and stuff. Yeah, man.
Well, I mean, the 50s stuff, the 40s, you know, and this, you know, when you're starting out, you know, the first recordings, the Plantation recordings, Alan Lomax recordings.
Yeah, but I'm talking like in the 70s too. He was still kicking it. Muddy was putting out great records in the 70s.
He put out great records with Johnny Winter. You know, Johnny Winter came along and just helped, pushed and got great albums out from Muddy Waters. You know, there's no doubt about
Buddy
it.
Guy too. Buddy Guy is another one.
But you know, I mean, most of those guys, you know, the stuff is like, it's really strong. But a lot of stuff, yeah, I mean, a lot of stuff, there'll be like one thing I'll listen to off of it, or two things, and I'll be like, okay, after that, it's just like, okay, I'm done with it. You know,
right? Well, that's why, like, okay, and I do in your record collection. Everybody does have records that there's only maybe 2 good songs on it, and but those are records that you don't pull a lot. You know what I mean? Because you want to pull a record that you can just put on and listen to. It's great.
Yeah, put on a record and just enjoy it. I listen to that stuff on digital, some sort of like digital medium. You know?
Yeah.
Well, like, you know, I mean, there are people who have one song that I care for, and you know, like Marshall Tucker Band. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Last Waltz. Muddy gets on it.
Oh,
yeah.
And
you know, and that's something. I mean, man, you know, Muddy gets on, and that's probably not his greatest performance, right? But still, you know, Muddy's in there, and it's like, damn, you know, you get somebody, you know, it's like, you know, when Dylan shows up, you know, finally, it's like, the band is great. Muddy shows up, Dylan shows up, and it's like, whoa, it just goes, for me, it goes to another level. It just, you know, it kicks into, you know, man, it kicks into 5th gear.
Yeah, it does. I mean, Now back to that thing you were talking about is like the basement tapes and the band before. Okay, is the band on that record or no?
Oh yeah. This is the band. This is Dylan with the band. Do you know the story of the basement tapes?
No.
So Dylan had he came out with Blonde on Blonde, and I think it was I can't remember whether John Wesley Harding and maybe somebody in the and I ought to know this, but either John Wesley Harding had just come out or something had happened, and Dylan had a motorcycle accident. He wrecked his motorcycle, and he claimed that he'd been pretty seriously injured. Although it's likely the case that he was not injured very badly at all. You're going to pop the top on another beer here, a root beer. And anyway, so he hung out at Woodstock. He had a house at Woodstock, and the band came up, and I'm not even sure they were called the band at the time, but he had performed with them. They'd been, they were the Hawks behind Ronnie Hawkins. Ronnie Hawkins and the Hawks, and he had, of course, toured famously in England with them.
His voice was injured.
Yeah, his voice was injured. Susan is not a Dylan fan. I'm trying to teach her to love Dylan. But anyway, he kind of holed up at this house in Woodstock, and the band showed up there. He invited the band up, and the gig was he was going to write a bunch of songs for other people to perform. He was just going to write, he was just going to be, a songwriter and just sell songs, just write songs, and other people would do it. Like This Wheel's on Fire was recorded forgettably by somebody else before it came out on the basement tapes. So, he was Quinn the Eskimo and stuff like that. Those were things that he was writing and sending out for other people to record. And the band showed up, and they showed up, and they had a tape, basically, small tape recorder and 1 to 3 microphones. Garth Hudson, the great multi-instrumentalist from the band, Garth Hudson was doing the recording, and they just recorded a bunch of stuff that was sort of demo quality material.
Right.
He showed up with stuff that was kind of demo quality material. We gotta and send it out. But these tapes started circulating. And one thing Dylan was doing, he was teaching the band. He was coming in, and you read stuff about it, and you watch interviews about it, and he was coming in with all this old stuff, all this old American music, all hillbilly, ancient hillbilly music, old country and western. He was teaching them, Hank Williams and Bill Monroe and people more archaic than that. He just had, an encyclopedic knowledge of roots American music, and he taught it to the band. And then they just started recording, and so these tapes started circulating. They were recorded in the basement of his house, or maybe they were in the basement. The band rented a house that they called Big Pink, and so the first album by the band, Music from Big Pink, was from that period, though professionally recorded, not recorded on that.
I just don't understand how they were able to, collaborate and stuff like that, because Robbie was kind of an asshole, a very egomaniac.
Robbie was, and you listen to Robbie now, and you think that he was teaching. You think that he was teaching Dylan how to tie his shoes, that sort of thing.
If you listen to him, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, the Hawks were a great bar band. You know, they were a great bar band. They were they were performing behind Ronnie Hawkins, who was doing bar music. He was up in Canada. He was basically a little better than a bar act in Canada. He had a couple of hits, and I can't remember what they were. Yeah, Susie Q. Susie Q was one of his hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Robertson's band, but I mean,
No, it
really,
fucking wouldn't be the same without Levon Helm either. I mean,
oh yeah, I know, and it was Robertson's band, but the one of the stories is that Garth Hudson initially was paid more. He earned more because he was teaching them. He was trained. He could read music, and he taught them how to read music and stuff, because none of them knew how to read music. But yeah, the Hawks would have been maybe one of the world's greatest bar bands, except for the tutelage of Dylan. I just people talk about how special the band was, and the band was special, but they learned from Dylan. There's no way that Robbie Robertson would have written The Weight without Dylan.
no.
That's the Weight is a great song. I love The Weight. It's a wonderful song, and it is basically Robbie Robertson doing a pastiche of Dylan. He's ventriloquizing Dylan there. And so, okay, great. Look, after the band went along for several years, about 10 years post Dylan, 8 years. Even though they continued, they toured the great tour that I'm blanking on the name of. Somebody in the chat tell me and I've got an album, the great tour with the band.
So you have a lot of Dylan's stuff. There's a lot of the stuff that he's reissued. You have a lot of his live stuff too.
I've got some of his live stuff. I've got some boots and stuff like that. My brother Al has a ton of that stuff. He's been collecting Bob boots for ages. Before. The great place to do is go. I have too much Dylan. Susan is not a fan of Dylan. It is not possible to have too much Dylan.
I think I probably have 8 to 10 Dylan records. I think that's about it. You, or more?
Yeah, I've got quite a bit more than that.
Oh, you do?
On CD. I don't have everything. I don't have the I don't have the gospel, or the Christian song albums, the 3 Christian albums. And I don't have Under the Red Sky, although I keep thinking I'm going to buy Under the Red Sky. David Lindley plays on Under the Red Sky, and I love David Lindley. But yeah, this is this $60. Yeah, that was a chunk, but this is a cool one. The Basement Tapes, the album that came out eventually, Robbie Robertson put in some stuff there that the band recorded separately from Dylan, and so it was later stuff. I enjoy the album as it was released. It's listened to it a ton. That was one I had a good sized box of records that went missing at some point. It had my Dylan, it had the Basement Tapes, it had Allman Brothers, it had the Clapton I had at the time. That all went. Just
where do you think that it went?
No,
lost in the sauce.
I don't know. I don't know what happened to it. I started, at one point I started digging through, and
maybe it could be in the attic. You don't know, or somewhere you have.
It could be that I moved out of a house and left it in a closet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because you said you moved a lot, right?
Yeah, I moved quite a few times, and one, I'm thinking about it. There's one house I had a whole bunch of little weird storage spaces, and I wasn't listening to vinyl much at the time. And I I hadn't gotten back into vinyl. I didn't get back into vinyl until, like 2015 or so.
I mean, for me, man, when I came out, like, to Vegas, I said, fuck moving, because I moved probably like a couple times, from apartments, and then I said, fuck it, I'm just getting a house and not moving again, because, when you have a big vinyl collection, it sucks to move that stuff. You know what I mean? To have to move
I have also, I'm a reader. I have so many boxes of books. In my current house, I have hardly any room for them. I've got a huge pole shed. It's like 30 by 60, or even bigger. It's like it's 2,400 square feet. So,
right. But
and
all your gear, your turntables, you have like 20 of them. Your speakers, your guitars, your guitars. All that.
I got a bunch of guitars out in the pole shed, and I've got Anyway, I'm sick of moving. I'm going to move one more time. My plan is to move to Oregon. 20. Yeah.
Why would you want to move there?
Oregon. I lived in Oregon for 10 years. It is my favorite spot, and also Susan and I are a thing, and Susan is there. So Susan is there. So I moved there, but I would move there even if Susan and I weren't a thing. So Susan weren't my gal.
So that is your.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're moving to Oregon?
Yeah. I'm progressing slowly to moving there. I've started packing, and
you're moving into a place that's in the middle of nowhere. You're not going to move like to the city or anything, right?
I'm gonna move. I'm planning to move to near Eugene.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So Eugene is not in Eugene. Eugene has gotten pricey.
Where were all the riots? Because we're
Portland.
What? Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to move there.
Yeah. I don't want to move to Portland. The Portland, the riots and stuff like that, it's, I know people who live in Portland, and it's like, it hasn't been as much of an effect as you would think.
Eugene had riots too. Wow, maybe Susan knows more.
Well, Susan lives in Eugene, or just outside. But yeah, I lived in Oregon from 87 to 97, and I loved it. And I spent most of the time in a small town called Cottage Grove, which is about 20 miles from Eugene. It's about 7,500 people.
Are you going to stop practicing?
No, I'm gonna continue to practice. I work out of Seattle anyway.
Oh, so that would be even more convenient if you ever had to go there.
Reed is an excellent college. Cool Transports, highly regarded college. It's one of those that gets called sometimes the Harvard of the West, but Reed is an excellent college. So, but yeah,
I've heard of Reed. I've never heard it was called the Harvard of the West, but
yeah, well, they say that about a lot of places. So, Stanford likes to say that Harvard is the Stanford of the East. But yeah, the Eugene area is fun. It's near the mountains, it's near the ocean, and I like to fly fish, and there's great fishing near there, and I loved living, especially down in Cottage Grove. It was a nice town, and near enough Eugene. They used to have a good hospital in Cottage Grove, although it's closed down. But
do they have record stores in Eugene?
Yeah, Eugene has record stores. It's a college.
And there you go.
It's the University of Oregon. So you get bookstores and bookstores, record stores, music stores.
That sounds like a great place to live.
Yeah. So there was a big, and Eugene has had a big music scene for a long time. A lot in the folk and stuff like that. because it's a real hippie town. The old joke used to be, oh, old hippies never die; they just move to Eugene. It's an old hippie town, so there's a lot of folk music, a lot of stuff like that. So yeah. Well, anyway, let me get back to the stuff I picked up. Johnny Jones with Billy Boy Arnold on An Alligator. Johnny Jones was played with Elmore James. Johnny Jones was Elmore James' pianist. This is kind of crudely recorded, but it's one of the few recordings with Johnny Jones out on his own. So it's just like you just got to have it, right? So that was $5 in great shape. Alligator Records, very very good. More blues. This is Blues and Jazz, the Ann Arbor Blues Festival from 1972, and has the first cut on a Hound Dog Taylor and the House Rockers, Kitchen Sink Boogie, and I'm a big Hound Dog fan. Then Coco Taylor's Wang Dang Doodle, which is just like just a classic. Bobby Blue Bland, Dr. John, Junior Walker and the All Stars, Bonnie Raitt doing tribute to Fred McDowell, Howlin' Wolf, Muddy Waters.
God, that's a hell. You have one band that I don't like.
Yeah. Lucille Spann with Mighty Joe Young. Mighty Joe Young was a spur guitarist. I saw him live in Eugene. In Carbondale, Illinois. Freddie King, Luther Allison, Johnny Shines doing Dust My Broom, Otis Rush, Sippy Wallace and Bonnie Raitt, and then Sun Ra and his Solar Myth Orchestra. So this is like a killer album, man. So then Corner Ray and Glover, Blues, Rags and Hollers. So this is a classic album. So it's White Boys doing but they loved it and they did a good job, So great album. And then I picked up some Brother Ray. Yeah. So this has Crying Time and Minnesota Existentialist, yeah. And then Ray Charles, Ingredients and a Recipe for Soul. This has got Busted, That Lucky Old Sun, over his version Over the Rainbow, which is great. So yeah, I got some I ended up, really what happened was, by the time after I saw this and I decided I'd drop $60 on one album. I was like, I better, I'm not going to look at any new albums. I started to walk over to the new side of the store. But every time I go over there, they've got a good selection of the Blue Note and especially the Tone Poet stuff. And I tend to be kind of powerless over the Tone Poet stuff because those are just so good. So.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, that's the problem. A lot of those Tone Poets they're at like $38.99. So you're looking at 42 and change or something when you walk out the door for a record.
The Tone Poet stuff tends to knock you back about $40 for one album. Now, they're choosing great stuff for the Tone Poet series, and the mastering and the mastering is great, and the vinyl sounds beautiful. I drop a needle on Tone Poet stuff, and that is some very quiet wax, man. So, so that's great stuff.
All right, man. I gotta get rolling. I gotta make dinner for my daughter now, whatever like that. But
we've been on about an hour. So any questions from anybody? Who we got left? Cool Transports or the Susan giving me a hard time here. Yeah. So
I didn't know that. See, I've been streaming with you for a while, and I didn't know anything about this. Where'd you guys meet?
We met in Eugene, so long time ago.
Okay, that's good. Okay, so it wasn't going to be one of those things. Oh, she saw my live stream, and now we're together.
I I don't know. I would be concerned about any woman who decided to, hit me up
Yeah.
live stream. Not sure about Susan's sanity, but it's like she. Yeah, I'm not sure about her sanity, but yeah, and I'm not sure why anyone would stalk me. But yeah, there you go. Anyway, that's all we got. Unless there's any questions, it's I got nothing there. But,
next week we'll have back.
We'll have Ricefield back, so we'll.
Yeah, and I'll have more records and stuff. This week didn't pick up too much.
Yeah, I'll probably go down Saturday this coming week. I went.
Hey,
down
did we miss Record Store Day?
Isn't it next week?
It might be next week.
Isn't it the 20s? It's like.
I don't care because there's nothing I want.
Is it the 22nd? Maybe it's next Saturday.
Yeah.
It shows how much I pay attention.
If it is next Saturday, we'll have a big Records Day reveal.
Yeah.
With Andre Castellanza's new stuff.
The Andre Castellanza on record. Record Store Day 2023 is Saturday, April 22. So yeah.
Yep.
So I feel like I got to go buy something on Record Store Day, and find something to buy and bring it back. Although, good Lord, I hate crowds. So, but I may brave the crowds to pick up an album for the live stream. I'll have to see what's getting released. The newest Andre Castellana. It's on. I'm sure that our friends at MoFi will be doing an Andre Castellana. It's on 45 RPM.
I probably have more than 20 Andre Castellanza records. You?
I have probably 6 or 8. And there's actually one 10. It's called Tender as the Night.
Yeah.
And I sometimes just throw that on. It's just it's pretty decent background music. It's not something to pay. You're going to pay a lot of attention. But it's.
I have a lot of that stuff. I like Nelson Riddle. I have some of his older stuff. What's that? The piano player that what's it called? Who plays with Nat King Cole sometimes? I forget what the heck his name is. But anyways,
Earl Grant?
No, it's they did an album where it's like called George Plays and Nat King Cole Sings. George Shearing?
George Shearing, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I have a George Shearing White Satin album. It was I got it in a batch of classical stuff, and I ignored it for a long time, and I put it on and thought, this is really not too bad.
Yeah.
And the stuff is, most of it is not real exciting.
No.
But it can be very pleasant. You don't have to have something that it's going to smack you in the head. Every time you listen.
No, and you can play it on your streams, and it doesn't get copyrighted for the most part.
I did get copyright strikes. Nothing of mine has ever been taken down, but Les Baxter. I'll take it back. It was Les Baxter that I was doing. But Les Baxter, he's a little more respected than Castellanos, I think.
Yeah, I played a freaking Frankie Carlisle record in the back of my freaking videos, and they didn't even pick up on it.
I've done quite a few like that. I think the Billy Vaughn too. You can typically play. Billy Vaughn was more interesting to me. Billy Vaughn, I thought there were a couple of things. First, those dot recordings. Billy Vaughn's dot recordings were excellent. The records just sound great. I don't know why, but the records sound great.
50s and 60s was a magical time for freaking some records, man. They really were.
Yeah. I mean, people were, once they figured out how to record and how to master, then there was a period where it was just beautifully done. And so the Billy Vaughn, sounds good. But I also think Billy Vaughn got, he got people to, you can hear, for me, you can hear sometimes, his musicians are having fun.
Right.
And, they're, it's not like it's knocking it out of the park. It's not like, they're doing Charlie Parker stuff. They're not doing Charlie Parker runs, but they're still, they're still having a good time, and there's some interest to them. So that stuff, I think, is, a lot of the Billy Vaughn stuff. I think, if you listen to it, you say, yeah, that's actually pretty darn good. And understanding what it is, it ain't, it ain't Ornette Coleman, man. It ain't, it ain't John Coltrane.
No.
But it's still pretty good stuff. So, yeah. But, yeah. So I must find out what Dylan. Yeah. I got one restriction for something which was really weird, and I've forgotten what it was. But I got a restriction on something that was like, why would you restrict this one? Because it was something I did that was pretty obscure. And it's like, but I got a copyright restriction on it. It's like, most of the time there's a copyright claim on mine, on the needle drops and stuff. I'll get, there's a copyright claim and I can't monetize, but I'm not monetized anyway. What the hell?
Right. Yeah. No, we ain't making money off this. It ain't happening.
I ain't making no money off it. And, I am a lawyer, and, I do believe that if I had to fight it, I wouldn't want to, but if I had to fight it, I'd say, look,
you'd win because it's fair use.
Fair use. This is a discussion. This is a review, and I think I'd win on those. But yeah, it's kind of annoying to see it, but yeah.
Because then you got to take the time, the freaking all that shit just to do it.
Yeah, but I've never had anybody submit a DMCA strike.
Yeah.
So. Marius, you ever had anybody submit a DMCA strike? You ever get an actual DMCA strike where it gets taken down? But I haven't had that. I don't know. I know, like Rick Beato has had that. I don't know. I like Beato.
You know what? Maybe that's what I'm going to do next week. Maybe this week I'll just put down a bunch of videos and see how many copyright strikes I can get. That might be something to do.
Yeah, I wonder, Marius, I'm doing well, thank you, Mike, and I hope you're doing well. I wonder if it's although I've been told that some artists really monitor that stuff.
Yeah.
Really monitor and really will jump on it. But I haven't had anything taken down. I've had only the one restriction, and maybe let me see what got restricted. Do that. See the.
I had some meter stuff get restricted.
I'm going to see what got restricted, and because it surprised me.
Mr. Ricefield is buying a house, guys. In Tokyo, I think.
I can't remember. It was I did. It was On the Road with Uncle Dan, or Uncle Dan Buys Another Cheap Turntable, and I can't remember what I did on that one. But
can't they copyright strike you if you're playing riffs too?
Oh yeah.
Like if you play a certain riff on your damn guitar, they can freaking try to ding you for that too. Yeah. I mean, technically, you play, pick up and play. I dinked around playing Walking After Midnight.
right?
Yeah.
One time. I mean, that is copyright. You know, that
Yeah, that's
melody.
why I don't even bother with that, because I'm like, afraid. Like my friend was telling me you can get away with fair use, but whatever.
Yeah, but I watch a lot of videos by people who are doing stuff like that. I've been watching a lot of the lap steel guys and gals too, but the lap steel musicians who are doing they'll cover stuff, and I don't know if they're getting strikes or not.
You know who? A guy that I watch a lot too, and I wonder, have you ever heard of Eric Blackman guitar?
No.
Look this dude up. I mean, he does like all like soul stuff, and like the 60s, like 70s, like Temptations, OJ's For the Love of Money, like lessons on how to play certain things or whatever, where he just shows you really quick. I mean, this guy was like a session musician. I mean, he's the man.
Yeah.
You should check him out.
Yeah. Send me a link.
I will after we get off it, but I got to get going anyway because I got to make my daughter dinner.
Mike, and if you want to get off, I'll answer a couple questions for Mike here. But
all right, man.
And I'll answer a couple of law questions here.
All right, guys. See you later.
Okay.
I'll talk to you later then.
Okay. Good seeing you, Bobby. The Mike, on your question, how is it possible? Wouldn't it have to sound exactly like the original? But in terms of, if you're asking, in terms just of the riff, if you have a sequence of notes, and some sequences of notes can be copyrighted themselves, some can't, and you get into it. But some are, and I just either watched a video or I read about a matter, one copyright case on music. You get the blurred lines problem too, so which is there, but let's I messed that up. The Dust My Broom lick. The Dust My Broom lick isn't copyrighted, but because it was when it came out, they did not copyright that. They did not copyright the music to it. And so the lick isn't copyrighted, but you can imagine that lick being copyrighted. And so the lick, which is a very simple lick, but you can imagine the lick being copyrighted, and that being that lick would be subject to copyright. It wasn't subject to copyright because, again, when it came out, they did not obtain any copyright in that music. They may have obtained a copyright in the performance. I can't remember, but they did not submit that music with that triplet lick for copyright protection. That was not submitted, and so it was basically then given to the public domain. It became public domain. So that lick is not copyrighted, but it could be copyrighted. And how can AI pick that up? I'm not sure how well AI can pick that stuff up. That was the question. How is AI able to tell it's a copyrighted song? If it's a copyrighted song, AI can pick it up. It's like the Shazam thing. You can Shazam a few seconds, and it'll find the performance, right? You listen, you pull out your Shazam and plug it in, and if it's straight across, Shazam will pick it up. I don't think they can pick it up as easily if it's somebody doing a performance of a copyright protected work. So yeah. And Marius, same with video content. If you're going to copy someone's work one-to-one copy, they might strike you, but mix it up with your comment, commentary, effects, or whatever, and it becomes fair use. I would be careful with that. It really will depend on how much of the copyright material you use, copyright protected material you use, and how and you can't. You can't take it and use so much of it that you've. I mean, the question at the end of the day is, have you affected the market for it? And so, if you haven't, then if the market for the original is fine, then okay, you're in great shape. But probably, but it's always complicated. I'm not sure if I am not sure. I mean, you get into some funny stuff too, live performances and what's copyright and what's copyright protected and what isn't. Thinking like the Robert Johnson, like the Robert Johnson stuff, Dust My Broom was, originally recorded by Robert Johnson. Yeah. Star Wars will, I mean, you can't take some Star Wars and mix it in with a bunch of your own stuff and have them not come after you. Yeah. Now you can do a parody of Star Wars, although they might come after you, but you can do a parody. But this all gets into if you had a live album playing during one of your videos, I mean, really the question is whether they picked it up or not, and it's just whether, I mean, did that live album make it into the database? Because most albums now, are copyright. Most albums from major publisher, major recording entities, because you get a copyright in the music as it's written, including the lyrics and the song and the music itself. And you also get a copyright in the performance. But those are different things, and you have to, if you're going to copyright a performance, you have to copyright that performance, so there's an underlying copyright in the song, and then the performance of the song may have its own copyright protection, but it'll only have its own copyright protection, well, it'll have it anyway now, but if you don't seek protection of it, you're going to have a hard time with it. But now the rule is, if you create something, it used to be you had to basically register, but the rule actually has been since '76 that you just have you create something, you have a protection. There's a photograph behind me here that I took a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, out near my house, and that's protected. That's protected. That is. I haven't, didn't file it with the copyright office or anything, but it's protected. yeah, I mean, if there is a famous case, it was Campbell v. Uh, Rose Music, and it was they made it up to the Supreme Court. Hold on. Campbell v. Acuff Rose Music, and I'll drop a link to the. I'm going to make it easier and drop a link to the. This is the Campbell v. Acuff Rose Music. Two Live Crew, wasn't it Two Live Crew? Anyway, they did a parody. Two Live Crew did a parody of Roy Orbison's Pretty Woman. And Acuff Rose Music had the copyright to Pretty Woman and sued them. And the Supreme Court said, you lose because it's a parody. And parody is protected. So, and this, Mike, you used to think, why would the original artist not want folks to play at least parts of their songs? Wouldn't that increase sales for them? And Marius has answered, this is, it's worth money, and some people will protect it more fiercely than others. For some people look at it and they say, look, I'm going to get, if I allow this, my own work is going to be diluted. And, the market for my own work will be diluted, and I will make less money. And so they'll fight to protect their copyright. So, but, the internet has done difficult things to copyright. And it's had very challenging effects on copyright because it used to be so much harder to copy something that the way the copyright law was created, made sense. But now it's just so easy to copy stuff that and stuff can spread, and it's changed it. And copyright law is still based on notions from good Lord, when movable type was still was still the hot technology. Public domain, Mike. They become public domain, but now it is extended. Basically, you can say 100 years. So now stuff that was published in 23 is coming into in the U.S. is coming into the public domain. But after 23, stuff published after 23, you're probably you got to be careful on it. And there a lot of the stuff is orphan. A lot of the stuff has become orphaned. There was a copyright, the copyright is held, but you don't know who holds it anymore. And sometimes the copyright can descend through inheritance, and it ends up with somebody who finally says, hey, I've got great grandma's copyright in this song, and I'm going to go out now and enforce it. And copyright isn't like trademark. Copyright, you got that copyright, and you don't have to go out and enforce it all the time. It's out there, and you find that somebody has violated the copyright, violated your copyright, and you can enforce it. So it's hard, and the internet has made it much more difficult. And a lot of people talk, the lawyers and I don't do copyright law. I've done a little bit in the past. I worked on a couple of copyright cases and a trademark case and a patent case or two, a couple of patent cases. But for the most part, I don't do intellectual property law. But it's just tough. It's this is all tough tough stuff, and it's hard given the internet. And so take your chance. You got you're out there taking your chances. But so. Yeah, if you've got any Louis Armstrong before 1923, you can play it. Did he record before 23? The 23 was when he first recorded, wasn't it? Well, Winnie the Pooh, and some of the illustrations of Winnie the Pooh are out of copyright. But some illustrations of Winnie the Pooh are not out of copyright. So you can't go and create and use an illustration of Winnie the Pooh created by Disney, because the early stuff was I can't remember who the illustrator was, and maybe it was A.A. Milne. But you can't, you got to be careful there. The Disney illustrations of Winnie the Pooh are, I believe, still under copyright. Yeah, that's right. The story of Winnie the Pooh is out of copyright. So you can create new Winnie the Pooh stuff, but you can't use Disney. Oh man, Mike, yeah, the copyright stuff is very tricky. It's very tricky. And you gotta, if you start playing around with that, well, I think some of the illustrations are still protected. The Disney illustrations are protected. Those were created well after 23. So those are still protected. The earliest illustrations wouldn't be protected. So you wouldn't have those. Disney may have a trademark. They may have trademark protection too, because copyright and trademark protection are not the same thing. So they may have trademarked Winnie the Pooh. They've trademarked and tried to trademark all sorts of things. One thing is certainly the case. You got to be careful if you want to go to war with Disney, because Disney will, they will take you down. So thanks, Mike. It was good seeing you. Yeah. I've been going over an hour now, and Bobby's gone, and we're just talking law. But it was good to see you all, and I'm gonna shut her down now. Good to see you all, and I think we'll be on next week, and we hope to see you then. So, mes amis, mes enfants, je dis à vous, je dis à vous, that I don't know about, Marius. If I'd be interested in finding that. But anyway, great seeing you all, and we'll talk to you later. Okay. Au revoir, mes amis, et aussi, je dis à vous, à bientôt.